Firebase is a powerful platform for your mobile and web application. Firebase can power our apps backend, including data storage, user authentication, hosting, and lot more. So with Firebase, we can easily build mobile and web apps that scale from one user to 1 million user, and it has a lot of features that will handle the load and the visitors balance. And the best part is that Firebase is free to start with and lets users create a account in it with just their Google. So definitely you have a Google account or a Gmail or whatever account. So with that only you can create a Firebase account as well. So you might be thinking, how can Firebase be free? So Firebase has two plans. The Spark plan of Firebase is free and offers many features to help developers get started. But based on growing requirements, there is another plan called the Blaze plan, which is definitely a pay as you go. That is, whatever resources you use, you have to pay for that resource only. So I hope you might be thinking, okay, cool, Firebase is very nice and we should start it. And before using it, I would just like to talk more about Firebase. That is, what are the features of it? So, first is that it helps to build apps very fast, and everything is packed with one platform. That is, whether it's database, messaging, crash reporting, whatever you want, it is there. Second is Firebase is developed and backed by Google. So definitely Google means trust. So our data is in safe hands. And Firebase is not just a database, because Firebase also gives the developers a comprehensive list of products to help them in their development process. So here you can see there are products which will help us to build better apps, that is authentication, hosting, functions, machine learning, cloud firestore, etc. It gives us features and products to improve quality of the application using crashlytics, test labs, performance monitoring, and it also helps to grow our application as well using analytics, predictions, A/B testing, in-app messaging, and lot more. So let's discuss about few of the products which are very important. First one is Cloud Firestore, which we will learn definitely. It is a flexible, scalable database for mobile web as well as other server development from Firebase. It is a NoSQL document database that helps you easily store, sync, and query data. The second product is the authentication part, and it provides backend services, easy to use SDKs, and other libraries to authenticate users to our application. It supports different types of authentication such as email, password, phone numbers, and social logins such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, Apple, and a lot more. So, definitely, when we are doing everything from scratch, it's difficult, but using Firebase, everything gets easy. The third important product is cloud storage. So, definitely, when we are building an application, we need some kind of storage to store our images, audio, videos, or whatever files are required for that application. Fourth is Cloud Functions. It helps us automatically run backend code in response to events triggered by Firebase features and HTTP request. So your code is stored in Google's cloud and runs in a managed environment. So Cloud Functions is very important, and you will learn its usage when you are building a production level application, because you have to send messages, you have to send notifications. Those things are done using Cloud Functions. Then it comes hosting. Definitely, if you want to host or deploy web apps, this can be done. Then there is crashlytics. It's a lightweight real-time crash reporter that helps us to track, prioritize, and fix issues that erode your application quality. Then Google Analytics is there, which is a free app measurement solution that provides insight on app usage and user engagement. Then there is cloud messaging. It provides a reliable and battery efficient connection between the server and device and allows us to deliver and receive messages and notifications on iOS, Android, and the web. And the last feature which I would like to talk about is the dynamic links. With dynamic links, our users get the best available experience for the platform whenever they open a link. So when a user opens a dynamic link, it it will take them directly to the linked contact to our native app. Suppose there is some kind of user's profile, so if someone clicks on that link, the app will be opened and it will be sent to that user's profile directly. So that's all about the theoretical part of Firebase. We will set up our Firebase project. So first let's create a new Flutter project. Bring out your directory, then in the cmd command line, just type flutter create and then your project name. I will name it Flutter Firebase. Then press enter. Then open your code editor. I will be using VS Code. Then simply open your project in this code editor like this. Okay, we have our project now. Okay, now just go to your browser and type Firebase, and here you will get the official page of firebase.google.com. Here you can see products and solutions, then what are the extensions, also what are the large companies and games which are relying on Firebase. So Duolingo is famous, Alibaba is famous, the New York Times is famous, Lyft is also a very famous app, Venmo is very famous. So here you can see Firebase is being used by a lot of application. Now you just have to log in with your Google account here and then click on go to console. Here see, you can see my Google account and then just click on go to console. And here I have different multiple projects, but I am assuming you won't have any. You just have to simply click on this add project and then give it a name. I will name it Flutter Firebase. And if you want, you can enable analytics. I don't want to enable it right now. Then just simply click on create project. After the project is created successfully, here it will just take few seconds. Firebase will let us know that our new project is created ready, and it will redirect us to the project dashboard here like this. Now we have our dashboard here, and here you can see all the products it is providing us, that is authentication, database storage and all. So our first task will be to configure our Flutter application to use this Firebase, and I will only configure the Android, but definitely if you want you can configure iOS and web as well. It's up to you. To configure it, just click on this Android button, and now in this screen it will ask us the Android package name, and this package name we can get it from our Flutter app project directly. That is the Android. Then in the app, you just have to go to build.gradle, and here this is the application ID of our Flutter. You simply have to go and paste it here. I will just name it Flutter Firebase. This SHA1 key is very important, but we will use it in the later videos. Then after this, just simply click register app. The next step is to download this config file. This is very important as it contains the API keys and other critical information for Firebase to use. So just click on this download Google services.json, and after it's been successfully downloaded, you simply have to go and cut the file from the download folder and go to your Flutter project, then go to Android, then go to app and simply paste it here. That's it. This is how it's done. After that, we click on this next in the Firebase. The third step is to add Firebase SDK. Now we will need to update our Gradle configuration to include the Google Services plugin. The first changes will be done in the project level build. That is, we have this Android here, then the project level build is this one. Here we simply have to copy this class part and paste it here. Okay. And then in the app level build Gradle, that is, here we have this app folder, and in this build.gradle, we have to first of all copy this implementation and paste it here, and next you simply have to copy this apply plugin com Google GMS Google services and paste it at the bottom. That's it. This code is already there here. It's already being predefined in all Flutter projects. Now the next step is to add the Firebase plugins in our project, because definitely there will be some dependencies for Firebase, and here you just have to click on next and then go continue to the console. Okay, for the dependencies we simply have to go to pub dev, and Firebase is accessed through a number of different libraries, one for each Firebase product. That is, whether it's database, authentication, analytics, storage, Firebase provides a set of different plugins. Here you just have to write Firebase core, the first plugin we need. Just click on installing, and here copy this, paste it in your dependency. Okay, the next dependency we need is the Firebase Auth, because we will be learning how to authenticate using Firebase. That is why. Now copy this and paste it in our pubspec YAML file. Okay, now we have successfully added the dependencies. The next change we have to do is in the app level build.gradle. Here in the default config, we just have to write one line of code, which is multi-dex enable true. So this is one line of code which is required when we are dealing with Firebase. This thing you have to remember. It's a configuration part. Now, okay, till here everything is fine. You can see in our slide as well, our first step of setup Firebase project is done. Then our configuration of our application is done. The config file is being saved in the project. Then we have added the Firebase SDKs, then the pub.dev plugins as well. Now, the final step is to write this line of code in the main.dart so that our application initializes Firebase at first. When our app is when our app is started, so it should know that it has to initialize the Firebase configurations to talk or to communicate with the server. So in the main file, you simply have to go the main function and make it async. Then you have to write widget flutter bindings dot ensure initialize. That means whatever code is now below it will be initialized. And then the next line is Firebase, await Firebase, and then initialize app. That's it. This is the code which you have to remember. Just trust me, whenever you are using Firebase, this is the first thing you have to write. Then only our app will know and integrate Firebase in it. Now that's it. The final step is to run the application. You can connect your emulator or physical Android device to test the application and just click on this run and then start debugging. Your app will be, your app is all set to go, and we will be creating the UIs required for the authentication app. We will be creating our login and register screen because obviously we will need some kind of UI to interact with the Firebase database. Our app is now running successfully. No error is there. That means Firebase has been configured properly. Let's first create few folders inside lib because I prefer some kind of folder structures instead of just randomly putting out files. The first folder I will create is models, then screens, and then services, where all the API or the database services will be written on. And now inside screen, let's create a new dart file called register screen dart. Let's create our first stateless screen, import our material package, then create a stateless widget and name it register screen. It will return a scaffold as it's a screen. Then let's give a app bar and then give it a title of text register. Let's center the title and give it a background color as well. Give it colors dot orange accent. And in the body, I would like to give it a column. In the column, we will have children's, but before that, I would like to go to our main.dart file and remove the previous dummy code. And in the home, I would like to write register screen, and in the title, I will just give it Flutter Firebase. Let's restart our app. See, this is our register screen. The orange accent is also looking nice. Now it's time in the children, we create text fields for collecting user data. Let's create our first text field, give it decoration, give it an input decoration of label text, write email, and then give it a border of outline input border. And also for every text field we have to create text editing controller. So let's first create the text editing controllers. Let's create first the email controller. Then there will be password controller as well. Password controller like this. Then the final will be confirm password controller, because when we are registering, we would like the user to confirm their password. Okay, text editing controller is done. Now in this text field, let's give this the controller of email controller. Okay. After that, give a size box just to give some spacing, height of 30. Then again create a text field. Give it a controller of password controller. Then give it the input decoration. Label text should be password, and then give it a border of outline input border. And in this text field, give obscure text as true so that the whatever the user type is hidden. Then again give a size box of height 30. And finally our text field of confirm password, give a obscure text as true, then controller as confirm password controller. Then in the decoration, give it an input decoration of label text, confirm password, and then a border of outline input border. Size box again. Let's save it and check it out. See, all the text fields are there. Now it's time we give some padding to it because they are attached to the ends of the screen, and as well as a submit button, so that whenever the user clicks on the submit button, it is taken it will be taken to the home screen or the whatever code we want to execute. So here in the body, wrap it with a padding and give it a padding of 20. Then in the column, give a main axis alignment of main axis alignment dot center so that everything is centered. Now, first of all, let's give a container a height of 50 and a width of the size of the screen, sorry, width of the screen. Then let's give it a child of elevated button. In the on press right now we won't have anything, and in the child I would write a text of submit and give it some styling such as font size of 25 and then font weight of font weight dot bold. Let's save and check it out. See, it's looking so nice right now. After this submit button, I would like to have a new button which will just say login here so that the user can log in if he has already registered. So after this container, I will have a size box of height 20 and a text button which will say already have an account, login here, and now save it. See, we have this button so that when we click on this, the user is sent to the login screen. So it's time we create login screen as well. So in the screens folder, create a new file called login screen dot. Here again just import material, create a stateless widget of login screen, then return a scaffold app bar. In the app bar, I will give the title of login and center the title, and I will give background color of background colors dot teal. It's a greenish color, shade color. Now in the body, I will again make two text fields, but first of all, I will give a padding because I know padding will be required. Edge insets dot all 20. Then in the child, I will give a column. Then main axis alignment dot center. Then in the children, I will simply copy from the register screen these two text fields, that is the email and the password, and paste it here. And also I will copy the text editing controllers. Okay, now we will have after this size box again this button, that is this container which says submit. Okay, we have our login screen set up. Now it's time, whenever someone clicks on this login here button, he should be navigated. For that we just have to write navigator dot push. Then in the route we simply have to write material page route. Then in the builder we will write context and then send it to the login screen like this. Let's save it and now check our application. We have this register screen here. Now when I click on this login here, see, our login screen appears. That is the email and the password field with this submit button. And when I click on this back button, again our register screen is there. So that's all for this video. We have the UI. We will implement Firebase email and password authentication. So for that to implement, first we have to go to the Firebase dashboard and click on this authentication button. Then under the sign in, that is here, we just have to first of all click on get started. And after that, under this sign in, we have to enable the email and password by just clicking on this enable and then save. But see here you can see all the other providers, that is phone, Google, Facebook, Twitter, Microsoft. It gives us a lot of different options. But okay, we have now first of all enabled this email and password. That is what is required. After that, we have to implement the authentication service. And for that, we have to go to our services folder and create a new file called auth service dot dot. Okay. And here we will implement all the Firebase authentication logic required. Now, to create a new user account in Firebase, we have to call the function that is create user with email and password. Firebase auth package gives us a lot of different options which we will discuss. But first of all, let's create a class of name auth service. And then first thing we have to do is to create an instance of the Firebase auth. So we have to write Firebase auth, then Firebase auth, and write Firebase auth dot instance. So now we have instance. So here you can see it gives us, sorry, it gives us different options which we will see. But first let's create a function to register user. The function will be a future function named register, and this function will accept parameter. First one be email and second will be password. Okay, now here you can see this Firebase auth gives us a lot of different options, that is verify phone number, sign in with phone number, sign in with email and password. So this is what we required, email and password. And now this email is this one and this password is this password, because this sign in with email and password also have two parameters of email and password. And this result we will store it in a variable called user credentials and then user credential. Because if you hover over this sign in with email and password, you can see it gives us a future of user credentials data type. Now I will just simply return user credentials dot user, and this user is a data type of this user, which is a null function, that it can be returned null as well. So I will just like to hard type or statically type all the data types. This is highly recommended so that there is no confusion later on. So hooray, we have successfully created our first function which will help us to register our user. And you can see with the code it's very easy. It was just one line of code. It's that easy. Now from the UI, that is this register screen, we have to execute that function as well. So now let's go to this container, and in the on press button, first of all I would like to give some if checks. That is, I don't want the email and password to be empty. So I will just write if email controller dot text is equal to empty, or password controller dot text is equal to empty If it's empty, then I will show a snack bar using scaffold messenger dot off context dot show snack bar, and in the content I will simply write a text of all fields are required and give it a background color of colors dot red. The next check I would like to do is if password controller dot text is not equal to confirm password controller dot text. That is, I want both the values to be same. If it's not same, then again I will show a snack bar with a value return passwords don't match. That's it. Now in the final if statement, I will call our auth service class like this. I have created this object, and through this object I will use this register function which accepts two parameters. First is email and second is password. So for the email I will just write email controller dot text, and for the password I will write password controller dot text. And now this returns us a user data type. I will just store it here, and I will just check if result is not equal to null, that is it has sent successfully our data, then I will just write print success and print result dot email. That's it. Okay, our code here is done. Now save it and bring out our emulator. So first of all, I won't type anything and just click on submit. See, I get a snack bar of all fields are required. Then I will just write a fake address, not fake, it's okay. I'm not using my own. And in the password, I will write flutter123, and then here I will just write flutter12. That is, if confirm password and password are not same and click on submit, then it's right passwords doesn't match. And if I write the confirm password correctly and then click on this submit button, I think I have did a small mistake. Let's check it out. In the auth service, I think I have just wrote sign in with email and password, which should be create user with email and password. So that was a very silly mistake of mine. But now you can see that how you can sign in as well. But this code by itself defines what it does. That is, it creates a new user. So again, I will just write email then password, and now when I click on this submit button, see in the debug console it's showing success. Now go to your Firebase authentication screen and click on refresh. In the users table, now you might be able to see this user whatever we have registered. So we have successfully created and registered our first user. So in the provider, this thing it is showing that it has come from the email and password. Sign in on this, and this its unique UID. Now we have to create function for this login as well. So similarly in the auth screen, sorry, auth services dot dart, let's have a login function which also is a future and returns a user data type like this, and it accepts string email and string password. And now just like above, we have this data type of user credentials, and it will await Firebase auth dot. Now it will be sign in with email and password like this. So the above one is create user with email and password, and now this one is sign in with email and password. And after that, I will just return user credentials dot user value. Okay, so we have this login function ready. Again, similarly like before, we have to go to our login screen, and here we should have our if else statements. I will just go to the register screen and copy this code, and in the login screen dot dart, just paste it inside the on press. So here we don't want this second else if, and just import the required libraries. Okay, the next change you have to do is instead of this register, click on login, and that's it. You just simply restart your application, check if everything is all right, and now test it. Now when I go to this login and type my email which I just registered, and now if I click on this submit button from the login screen, let's see what happens. See, it's showing success. That means we are now able to successfully log in as well. So that's it. This is very easy. I think you might be also thinking that using Firebase is pretty straightforward. The code are very minimal and it does the job in no time. So we will be talking about error handling. So until now, we haven't handled the scenarios where the user might end up entering invalid email or password while either registering or trying to log in. So in the last video, you might have seen this kind of error when I accidentally wrote sign in with email and password instead of create account or create with username and password in the Firebase auth. So at that time also we got this kind of exception, and this was shown like this because we didn't handle it on our own. So there might be different kind of examples as we enter an invalid email format while registering or enter wrong password while login. We will get an exception like below, either like this and either like this, and our application will get stuck. It will be a very bad experience for the end user, and that is why we have to handle it properly. So we can do it simply by using the try catch block. So try catch block are used to to handle those type of exceptions. So first of all, let's do it with our register function. Here simply write try, and then since those will be Firebase exceptions, and for I would just like to show you at first what are these kind of exceptions. So in the register screen, let's try to register the same user twice. Just wait, since this is an emulator, it's taking too much time. Android Studio takes a lot of memory. Now let's try it out. Flutter 1, 2, 3. Then again confirm Flutter 1, 2, 3. Now if I click on the submit, see, an exception has occurred, and this is a Firebase auth exception. It is saying that the email is already in use. So this kind of scenarios I was talking about, and in the debug console here again you can see the exception. And since it was a Firebase auth exception, so we simply have to write that in our try catch block. So here I will write try, then on Firebase auth exception, like this. I will catch the error, and in the end again I will catch if something else errors are there. Now cut this code and paste it in the try block. Now okay, we have this try block, and if some exception occurs, we have to show a feedback to the user, and to show a snack bar we need a build context. So we will ask for build context as well. So here we just write build context, and now it's showing this error in the register screen because we have to send context as well. Now with this build context, let's simply show a scaffold messenger dot of context dot show snack bar. In the snack bar, let's have a content of text e dot message dot to string, and let's have a background color of colors dot red. Okay, and here this sketch I will just print it for now. You, if you want, you can show scaffold again. I'm saying this again, that here we are using this on because we know that the fire exception will be from Firebase, and if something new comes up, it will be handled by the sketch block. Okay, let's try the same thing again and see if our application gets stuck or not. Let's write the password. Okay, now when I click on this submit, see, the email address is already in use by another account. So this is so nice than before. Our application is not stuck right now. Now let's do the same thing to our login function as well. Let's give it try. Then on Firebase auth exception, let's catch the error. And then in the last also we will have a catch block. Now simply cut this from here, paste it. Here again we will show a snack bar like before. And for this, first of all, we have to accept that build context. And in this I will just write print e. Now go to your login screen dot, and here where we are calling the login function, we have to send the context. Okay, our here this portion is done. Let's check it with our login as well. Let's give something which is not being registered. This email is not registered, so let's see. If I click on the submit, it is showing there is no user record corresponding to this identifier. The user might be deleted. So at least they know that the user is not valid. They should register them first and then try to log in. So we have learned how to properly handle exceptions like this. So no doubt we have successfully handled exceptions, but till now we are not giving any feedback to the user when he clicks on submit button while trying to either register or log in. This is not a good practice as the end user doesn't even know that the request is being sent to the server, and he should not click on any other buttons. That is, when a user click on this submit button, he should not be able to click on this submit button again until he gives or he gets some kind of feedback from the server, or else there will be some errors because there will be multiple requests with the same data. So the best way is to show some loading indicator so that the user also know that he has to wait. And to show a loading indicator, first important step is to convert our stateless widget to a stateful widget. So in the register screen, just simply go and now convert this to a stateful widget. Stateful because the state of the UI will change. Once it will show a loading indicator, and the next time it will show the submit button. And to handle that kind of true and false values, we must create a boolean variable called loading and give it a default value of false when a user comes to this page. That is, there is no loading indicator when this page is being rendered. Now we have to use conditional statements, that is if else, to output a loading indicator or a submit button. And since it's just a one line of code, I will use a ternary operator. So I will just write here loading. If it's true, then show a circular progress indicator. If not, then show this container, which is that is the button, submit button. Let's save it. But till now we have just written this ternary operator, but we should set the state when this submit button is being pressed. So here we have to write set state loading is equal to true. Then this piece of line will be executed, and then after it's successfully executed, we have to set the state again to false, so that if some error or success is done, after that our loading progress indicator is being removed. Let's try it out. Let's bring our register screen. In the email, let's write Firebase @gmail.com. Give it a value of Firebase 123, then Firebase 123, and now click on the submit button. See, this is the loading indicator. And now, after it's successful, the loading indicator is being removed. You can go to a Firebase console and refresh so that you can check. See, our this email address is also being registered or registered in the server. Let's do the same thing for the login screen. That is, we should show a loading indicator here as well. First, let's convert this screen to a stateful widget. Then create a boolean of loading, give it a false value, default value. Then here in the ternary operator, let's write if it's true, then show a circular progress indicator. If not, just the container. And when this on press is pressed, first of all, the loading indicator will be true. And in the end, the loading indicator set it to false so that we know that the server thing is done. Let's save it. Let's go to our login screen. Let's write Firebase @gmail.com and write the password. Okay, let's click on the submit button and see the loading indicator, and we have the success. So that's all. We have successfully showed a loading indicator while there is a request to the server, because these are very small changes, but it will affect the performance, or you can say the user experience of your application. If user is already signed in or not. So now suppose the user has successfully logged in, but what if he close our application and start it again? In that case, we don't want the user to enter his credentials again and again, but instead we should check if that user has already logged in before, and this can be implemented very easily while using Firebase. But before that, we should create a new home screen file inside screen directory. Let's go to the screens and then create a new screen called home screen dot. Here let's import our material as always. Let's create a stateless widget of home screen. Then create a scaffold, then app bar. Let's give the title of text home, then center title true, background colors dot pink this time, and in the actions I would like to give a button of logout. So I will just write text button dot icon, on press will be empty. In the icons I will give icons dot logout, and in the label I will just simply give it text of sign out. Okay, and this sign out, sorry, this button, I would like to give some styling as well to the button, not the label, to the button itself. And I will just say text button dot style from, and in the primary I will just give colors dot white. Okay, we have our home screen ready, but we should also make sure that when a new user register or log in successfully, then he should be navigated to this home screen. Earlier, we were just getting a response in the debug console. For that, simply go to register.screen, and here, if result is not equal to null, I will just simply write navigator dot push and remove until, and then in the new route I will give material page route, and in the builder I will just simply write home screen. That's it, easy as that. And same thing I will just copy and paste it in the login screen here and import our home screen. So we are using here push and remove until. You might be thinking, why not I am using push replacement? Because the only issue here is in this login screen, it is not the final screen. It is using the push, that is, it is into another top of another screen. That is, it's a stack and it is the top of register. So from here, if I write push replacement, then it will go to the home screen but with a back button. So the other workaround is, first of all I have to use navigator.pop, and then I can use navigator.push replacement in this login screen. But I just simply don't like it, and I simply use this push and remove until, that is, remove everything and just push this screen. That's it. So let's try it out if it's working or not. Let's just wait for a while. I hope your system is powerful enough, because sometimes while you are using Android Studio or these emulators, the RAM management is not good in most of the PCs. So let's try it out. Now let's see, give the correct password. Okay, click on the submit button. See, hooray, it's working so nicely that we are directly sent to our login screen here. But what if I restart this application? So if I restart this application, the register screen is there and we are not directly sent to the home screen. So this can be implemented, or this should be changed. Firebase Auth enables us to subscribe in real time to Auth state via the stream. That is, once called, the stream provides an immediate event of the user's current authentication state. And after that, it subsequently provides events whenever the authentication state changes. In simple words, Firebase gives us an option to listen to the changes in the Firebase authentication. For that, Let's go to the main.dart file. Here in the home screen, you simply have to write stream builder. Then in the stream, we will use auth service dot firebase auth dot auth state changes. So here if you hover over it, see it gives us a stream with the user's value, notifies about changes to the user's sign in state, such as either it's sign in or sign out. And since it's a stream, the data flows continuously. In the builder, we have as usual context in the snapshot. Here I will simply write if snapshot dot has data, then we would return home screen. But if not, then we will return the register screen. This piece of code means that if the snapshot is not null, then definitely there has to be some user value. So that's why we should return the home screen. And if it's null, then we should return the register screen. Now, if we restart our application, you will see we will directly send to the home screen. See here, since our application already knows that the user has been logged in before. This is very important concept because most of the application you don't want the user to have a bad experience of logged out automatically. How to implement Google sign-in. But nowadays, in every modern application, there is an option to authenticate user using their social logins. That is either it's Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. So today we will learn how to implement Google sign-in using Flutter and Firebase. So the first step is to generate an SHA key. And you might be asking, what is SHA key? So SHA key is required in order to implement Google or phone sign-in authentication in Firebase. It is a unique key generated for your PC that can be used for signing. So debug key store is a unique for each system and it is automatically maintained by the Android SDK. So you just have to remember that the debug key is required when we are testing, and there is another key called the release key is required when we are submitting to Play Store. So now the question arises, how do we get the SHA1 key? So first you need to find the location of your debug key store file, which is inside the Android SDK folder. In my Windows 10 PC, the location is program files, Android Studio. Let's go and check it out. Let's go to the file explorer, then program files, Android Studio, JRE, then bin. Let's check JRE, then bin. Then in this location, bring out your command line, and simply after that you have to type this command. You can pause the video and write it down like this, and then you simply have to press enter. That's it. You will get this kind of output where you will get find MD5, SHA1 and SHA256 file. So since it's a very confidential information, so you should not share this key with other people. Now just copy the SHA1 key, bring out your Firebase dashboard, go to the project setting, and then here You simply have to add it like this and then save. Download the latest Google Services JSON, then cut it, then Android app, remove the previous JSON file and paste this one. Rename, just remember there shouldn't be this kind of one or anything, simple Google Services JSON. That's it. So this is how you do it. After that, just simply stop your debug session and start it again. Next step is to enable Google sign-in authentication. Go to your authentication screen, that is dashboard, then go to sign in method and wait, I will just stop it because we have to install dependencies as well. Here you simply have to go to Google, then enable it. Here select an email address and simply click on save. Okay, now you have successfully enabled Google sign in. The final step is to go to pubdev and get the required dependencies such as Google sign in. Press enter, and the first one you get, you have to copy and install in your pubspec.yaml. Just paste it, and after that, another dependency required is Google sign in web. Just copy and install it as well. So yeah, you have successfully enabled Google sign in. Then the next step is to create a button in our home screen. So for that button, again, I am using one package because I don't want to create a button on my own. So I will just first of all run the debug until the time it is running. I would like to go to pubdev and get the Flutter sign in button. Yeah, this one. So here, as you can see, you get all the different kind of social login buttons. So it's much more easier for you to get the image and the desired look with this plugin. So just copy, and our running in debug will take some time. In Firebase authentication, for every authentication, there is a process which you can get to know through their documentation or via Medium or Stack Overflow. There are a lot of options. Just ignore this kind of errors till the time your Gradle is running and haven't stopped. Till then, we are good to go. Okay, so I guess our app is now successfully built Android Studio is a heavy software. So I'm just assuming your system is strong enough to handle the RAM management. So since we have done this check in the beginning, that's why we are getting the home screen. Right now we haven't implemented the sign out functionality, so that is why I will directly go to main, and here instead of home, for only once I will return register screen so that we can work on it. Okay, now go to the register screen, and now below the text button give a sized box of height 20, then give a divider widget, then again a sized box of height 20 so that some spacing is there. Now I will use the sign in button. So I will just write sign in. I think I haven't, yeah, I haven't installed a dependency. So I will just copy, and now just wait for a few more seconds. Okay, done. Now in the register, I will first of all import our Flutter sign in button. Okay. Now here I will write sign in button. Then the first parameter will be button. I will just write buttons dot Google. Then the second parameter I will give text, and I will write continue with Google. And in the on press, for now on I will not do anything because in the next video we will implement the functionality. Right now only we will work on the UI portion. Let's check it out. See, here we get the button continue with Google. So it's looking decent, I will say. At least it is giving us the feel that we have other options as well. So I hope you have understood how to configure Google sign-in. And this SHA1 key, you can, if you are finding it difficult, you can go and Google the solutions if you are not getting it in your system. But this is very much required if you are using phone sign-in, Google sign-in, or any kind, this kind of different features. So now it's time we learn how to implement Google sign-in functionality. For that, simply bring out your VS Code, go to Auth service, and now in the bottom portion, we will write the code. Just give it a comment of Google sign in. Okay. Now let's write it's a future which will return as a user. I will name it sign in with Google. Now, first step is to trigger the authentication dialog. That is the options or the dialog box to choose your Google account. For that, simply write Google sign in account. It can be null. name it Google user, and simply await Google sign in user. Google sign in dot sign in. Okay. So this code brings out the pop-up menu to choose your Google account. So it might be null, that is the user clicks on the back button or he hasn't chose any account. So we have to check if Google user not equal to null. This we have to check. If it's not equal to null, then we will obtain the auth details from the request. That is, the code will be final Google sign in authentication Google auth is equal to await Google user dot authenticate. Okay. After that, we will create a new credential. Create new credential. Final credential is equal to Google auth provider dot credential, and then access token we will write Google auth dot access token, and ID token we will be Google auth dot ID token. Once signed in, we will return the user data from Firestore. Okay, not Firestore, sorry, Firebase. Now it's user credential is equal to await. Now we will sign in with the Firebase. Earlier it was just the code required for the Google portion. Now we will finally sign in with credential like this, in with credential, and send our credential. That is the credential. This is being returned by the Google. So we have to send that to our Firebase to make sure that we are legally allowed to access, and simply write finally user credential dot user. Also, let's make sure this everything is in a try catch block, because you never know if something goes wrong like this, and simply for the time being print the error in the debug console. So the thing is, this code, it's not like you have to learn it by heart. You just have to know it, and whenever required, you will get this code. This is a very basic code. But it's very difficult to remember, learn. It comes by practice. So now we have the function ready. It's time to assign the Google sign-in function to the button, to this button, which is in the register screen. So here in the register, yeah, continue with Google. Yeah, here I will simply first of all write, make it an async function, and write await auth services dot sign in with Google. But I also want the loading indicator to show. So I will just write here, if loading is true, then show circular progress, or else show this button as we did it before. And here I will set the state as loading is equal to true, and then set the state as loading is equal to false. Okay, let's try it out. Now click on the continue with Google button. See, now the pop-up will be shown. Choose an account. I will select my account, and then yeah, all done. See, right now we are not navigated just because of the reason we did the change in the main.dart. So simply again make it home screen. Now you can see we are directly sent to the home screen because we are already authenticated. So I hope you have understood how to use the Google sign in. This piece of code is just what is required. Then you have to hook that piece of method with our UI like this. And this loading is just so that the user has a feedback. Now finally we have to make sure our sign out button is working, because without it we cannot see, we cannot practice, or we cannot test our application. Now go to home screen. Here the button is in the actions. Simply make it async and write what we should do. We should create a separate function in the auth service. Here we simply have to write future sign out like this, and simply write await Google sign in dot sign out, because it is required when we are using Google package. We have to make sure we sign out so that we can choose another account if we want. And also we have to sign out from our Firebase auth as well, like this. So we have our function. Go to mains home screen. Here simply write auth services dot sign out. Make it await. Okay. Now let's test it if it's working. I hope it will. Now what should happen is, if we click on this sign out, we should automatically be taken to the logins register screen because of this code. Let's see. See, we haven't wrote any navigation code in our sign out, but it has already taken us to this screen just because we have our stream builder and it is checking on the auth state changes continuously. So if something happens, we will be redirected to either home screen or register screen. Now finally, if I again click on continue with Google, choose my account, and now let's see if it is redirected to the home screen. See, we are directly navigated to the home screen. So our authentication part is completed and it's working seamlessly. I hope you have learned a lot today. In the next module, we will be talking about the database, because now it's time we integrate real data, and we will also create one or a very basic application as well in the next session. So that's it.